Hello and welcome to Extra Innings. I am Van Noland alongside Owen Noland. We have a very exciting episode for you tonight. The MLB playoff races are heating up as the playoffs will start next week. This is the final week of the regular season. We don't have a minor league update. Minor league baseball ended last week. If you want to see how it ended, make sure you check out that episode. Which means we are going to get right into Major League news. The first bit of big information from today is that Shohei Ohtani will undergo Tommy John surgery, and he will have it next week. So the Angels pitcher and hitter will probably miss some time next year as he recovers from Tommy John surgery. I do not know a official timetable yet, but usually it's about 14 to 16 months. So that means he very well could miss all of next year. At least pitching-wise. He could probably still hit. I don't know this for a fact, but he has hit this year when he was unable to pitch. The Angels did still let him DH, so he might just not be able to pitch next year. I don't know the full details on that yet. I'm sure we'll learn more once he has the surgery as far as a timetable and when he'll be able to pitch again. Yes. But that's really like the most relevant news for you guys. All the rest of it is playoffs, the most exciting time of the year. It's the last week of the regular season. It is the last week of the regular season. We're going to start in the American League, where a lot of it is already set in stone. The Red Sox have locked up the best record in the American League. The Astros have the second best record as it stands right now, and although the Yankees could finish with a better record than them, it is kind of irrelevant because the Yankees will be playing in the wild card game no matter what. So the Astros have locked up home field advantage over the Indians. Yes, I already know it'll be the Indians because the Indians have won the Central. So we already know one playoff matchup. It'll be the Indians and the Astros, and then the Red Sox will play the Yankees or the Athletics. So we really already know the American League bracket. Actually, that's not true. The Athletics still have a chance at winning the West. Sorry, they are 5 games out. But their elimination number is 1. So if they lose tonight or the Astros win tonight, the Astros won tonight, which brought the elimination number down to 1. Okay. Are the A's playing? Are they in action? Yes, they are winning 6-4 right now in the 3rd inning. So, still keeping it close in Seattle as the A's are playing the Mariners. But if the Athletics do not hang on and win that one, they will be unable to win the American League West. The Athletics could get to 100 wins. Wow. A 100-win wild card. The Yankees are probably going to get there too, right? How many wins? Yeah, the Yankees have 97 wins. So if they win 3 more games, a 100-win wild card team. That's crazy. You think 90 wins is sort of the benchmark to make the playoffs and possibly get a wild card, and you've got in the American League a wild card team winning 100 games.
Wow.
And in the National League, we won't even have a team that gets to 100 wins.
Yes, but it's much closer.
Yes, a lot more exciting. Playoff spots are still up for grabs in the National League. Let's break that down right now. Starting with the one team to clinch a playoff berth. That's the Atlanta Braves. Oh, and at the beginning of the year, if I told you that the Braves would be the first team and the only team with less than a week left to go in the regular season that would have clinched a playoff berth in the National League, what would you have said?
I would have said you're crazy. Because I thought the Braves were going to finish in last or near the bottom of the NL East. I had no idea they would have the kind of success that they have had this year. And obviously been able to carry that to an NL East division crown.
Yes, so the Braves with 88 wins, although they do not lead the National League in wins, they were the first to clinch a playoff berth. The NL Central, I would say, is the most exciting division race because you have three teams still vying for the top spot. The Cubs, the Brewers, and the Cardinals. Both the Cubs and the Brewers have 90 wins. The Cardinals just behind them with 87. The Brewers are winning tonight, and the Cubs were losing tonight. Neither of the games are final, but as I speak to you guys right now, if that scenario holds, the Brewers would be within half a game of the Chicago Cubs for first in the NL Central. Oh, and you predicted the Brewers.
Yes, I did. They've been my pick all year long. I see no reason not to go with them now, even though they're 1.5 games out.
Not to go against them now.
Yes, not to go against them now. That's right. I picked them in March when we made our preseason picks in spring training. I picked them at the halfway point to take them to the division crown, so I might as well pick them with a week to go. I've been a believer in the Brew Crew this entire year, and I see no reason to doubt myself now.
Yes, the thing I find very interesting as well is St. Louis Cardinals still have a chance to actually win the division.
Yes, and those two teams are playing each other, the Brewers and the Cardinals are.
And the Cardinals, yes.
So the Brewers have a chance to separate themselves a little bit.
Yes, they won last night, winning again tonight. And then the Brewers and the Cubs play over the weekend.
Yes, that will decide the division. If the Brewers continue to win and in the direction the Cubs are going, they lost last night. They're losing tonight. That will be obviously the biggest series of the year for both those teams. You're vying for you're either going to get in a one-game wild card, miss the playoffs entirely, or win the NL Central. Even though I doubt either of those teams will miss the playoffs entirely.
Yes, the Brewers have a 3-game lead on the Cardinals for the wild card spot, but anything is still possible. We're going to get to the NL West here in a minute, but the scheduling of the Brewers and the Cubs playing the last series of the year is something I always like to see, and I bring this up because it's relevant in the NL West. The Rockies are not playing a divisional opponent, and the Los Angeles Dodgers
are playing the Giants.
Yes, so that makes sense. But the the Diamondbacks are actually playing the Padres. So I guess all the other teams are booked, but I feel like it would make more sense. You know, if you look at when the schedule came out for this year, if you look at how the teams were doing, maybe have the Padres play a team outside of their division because, no one really expected the Padres to compete. I think a Rockies and Diamondback series at the end of the year would have been very interesting.
That's true, and you got it this past weekend, even though it wasn't the very last series of the year. It's still a series in September, a very meaningful series. In September, the Rockies were able to knock out their division rivals from the playoff race with a sweep in Arizona.
Yes, so I guess that was very interesting. But I just like to see divisional opponents go up against each other to end the year.
I totally agree with you.
Yep. So, the NL West, as it currently stands, the Padres, Giants, and Diamondbacks have all already been eliminated. And the Rockies and the Dodgers are still playing for a postseason spot. Now, if the playoffs started today, actually, it depends on what time you start them today. I'll phrase it that way. But heading into the day, the Rockies were not in a playoff spot. They have a chance because the Cardinals are losing and they are winning to leapfrog the Cardinals and get into the wild card spot. By the time the day is over, maybe not East Coast time, but Mountain time, the time zone that the Rockies are on. So the Rockies still do sit 1.5 games back of the Dodgers. For the division, the Dodgers were currently beating the Arizona Diamondbacks. Last I checked, it was 1-0, and it is still 1-0 in the top half of the 6th inning. So what do you think of the NL West race, Owen? Dodgers, Rockies?
It's obviously very close going down to the last week. The Dodgers, I find it interesting. They've got a little bit harder schedule, I think, than the Rockies because they have to play the Diamondbacks and then the division rival Giants having to beat a division rival. You know, the Giants don't want to just lay down and let the Dodgers take the division crown. And you know the Diamondbacks want to do the same. They don't want to see the They don't want to see the Dodgers celebrating in their home field. Diamondbacks would hate to see the Dodgers jumping in the hot tub again in Arizona. And you know the Giants don't want to see the Dodgers celebrating on their field, being the bitter division rivals that they are. So you know neither of those teams are just going to lay down and let the Dodgers have the division crown. And you look at the Rockies' schedule, they play the Phillies, who have not played their best baseball as of late, taking them out of the postseason contention, and the Washington Nationals, who have already been eliminated. And neither of those teams are particularly hateful. I don't know if that's even the right word or right phrasing. They don't dislike the Rockies as much as the Diamondbacks and Giants dislike the Dodgers. So a little bit different scenario that I think makes it easier for the Rockies to win the division than it otherwise would if they were playing a divisional opponent, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does make sense. So if you look at it from that perspective, I guess the Rockies might have the advantage. The Rockies currently sit at 86 and 70, and the Dodgers currently sit at 88 and 69. So really, if the Rockies just have one less loss than the Dodgers do, they will at least force a tiebreaker.
Yes, a game 163 for the NL West Division crown.
Yes. And I think it would also be interesting if the Rockies were maybe to force a tie with, say, the Cardinals or whoever.
For that second wild card spot.
Yes, were to tie for the second wild card spot. Which would set up a scenario. What year was it? 2014?
2013, the Rangers and the Rays.
Yes, the Rangers and the Rays had a game 163 for the wild card. What do they do if both the wild card teams tie?
If both the wild card teams tie, I think it's head-to-head record, because I doubt they would play a play-in game just to decide home field advantage. That's just my guess, though. Van, you're looking it up right now, so we will figure this out momentarily.
It says one game tiebreakers are played between teams tied for a division championship and a league's second wild card berth. These games are to be played the day after the season is scheduled to end. So they do not actually play a tiebreaker game, but the first tiebreaker is for the wildcard teams. If, say, the top two wildcard teams are tied, would be the team with the better record in head-to-head play. The second tiebreaker would be the team with the best overall record in intra-division games. And the third tiebreaker is the team with the best overall record in intra-league games. And the fourth tiebreaker is just interesting. It's the team with the best record in the final 81 games of the season, ignoring interleague play.
Interesting.
So, which brings me to the fifth tiebreaker, I guess, which is the teams with the best record in the final 82 games of the season, ignoring interleague play. And this will keep going backwards until the records are different.
So until they get to the 161st game, where it was played during the day against an interleague opponent, where your team batted the left fielder fifth and they were wearing their alternate uniforms. Which tiebreaker is that one?
That's
I know,
not
it's a joke, I know. Probably like the 992nd tiebreaker. Did you really think I was serious about that?
No.
No.
I just don't understand how that's a tiebreaker.
No, it's a joke.
That's not a tiebreaker.
This is kind of crazy if you have to go back this far.
If you have to go back more than 81 games.
They could just meet somewhere in the middle, like Colorado and St. Louis, somewhere in the middle to play the game. Find a baseball field that's in the middle. I'm sure there's some.
I don't think the MLB would like that too much. Not many fans would go to the game.
Yeah, you're right. It'd be bad for attendance. All right, scratch my idea. Don't listen to me, Commissioner Manfred. Don't listen to me. It's a bad idea.
Yes, but I like how it puts an emphasis on your division games for the intra-division tiebreaker, and then it puts, I feel like if it's between two wildcard teams that are in different divisions, the third tiebreaker should really be the second tiebreaker. So, because I don't know if it's fair to compare the Rockies and the Cardinals, the second tiebreaker being how the Rockies fared against their division in the third tiebreaker, and how the Cardinals fared in their division, putting that head-to-head against each other because they played in different divisions. But what they did do is they played in the same league. They played all the same teams. I think if you were to make the best overall record versus in intra-league games as the second tiebreaker when comparing teams in two separate divisions, I think that would work better than comparing them against completely different sets of teams to determine a second tiebreaker. As a second tiebreaker, I guess. Don't you think?
Yes, I would tend to agree with that.
So I think they should change that. I think that should depend on the scenario. Because obviously last year, say the Rockies and the Diamondbacks had tied for the second wildcard spot. I know they didn't, but just hypothetically, it would make sense to compare them against intra-divisional opponents because they played the same number of games against them. But say you're comparing the Rockies and the Cardinals and you're using the Rockies' record versus the Giants, Padres, Dodgers, and Diamondbacks compared to the Cardinals' record against the Pirates, Reds, Cubs, and Brewers. It's kind of like comparing apples to oranges.
You could make that argument for sure.
Because with all these other tiebreakers, I see it as a level playing field. Obviously, head-to-head is as level as it gets, and then the final 82 games of the season, it's against your teams in the same league, so that's an even playing field. And then obviously, overall record versus teams in the same league is also an even playing field. You both play in the same league, so that makes sense. But intra-divisional games is comparing your record versus completely different teams.
Yes, it is. You are 100% right on that.
So we are in agreement on this?
Yes.
I'm sure there's a reasoning for it, but I guess I could look that up when I have some time later. But is that all we have for the show, I guess? Rather
Yes,
quick show.
I think it is a very quick show tonight.
Yes, really short, but look forward to next week's playoff edition. We will do wild card. What is the American League wild card game on Tuesday or?
Yes, I think so. And the National League is on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. Why don't we just look this up right now so our viewers can be informed?
Yes, the American League wild card game is next Tuesday. So, because we kind of know the teams. Is it too early to say Athletics Yankees?
Technically, yes, because the A's still have a chance, but a very slim chance to win the division.
Okay.
But it will likely be Yankees and A's
Athletics.
in New York. It's in New York for sure, isn't it? Or
Yes.
is there a chance that it could be played somewhere besides New York?
Nope. It is definitely in New York. So that will be a very interesting game, but I guess we'll give you our thoughts on the game next week because it'll be in progress during our show next week, and then we will preview the NL wildcard game as well as the rest of the playoffs. So that is that. That is our show for the week. We would like to thank you guys for listening whenever and however you have tuned us in. You have been listening to Extra Innings on National Sports Radio, and we will see you at the same time in the same place next week for playoff baseball.